Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing today? This is 3 with Infiltrate Podcast, and today I am with a great fellow brother in Christ, the CEO of Sir by Design, Chris. How you doing today, Chris?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing good, brother. Doing good, man. I'm excited to have you on here, man, to talk to you about Sir by Design, your ministry, what we're doing, what's going on in the future, and just what the future holds, man. So it is awesome, and I just thank you for your time today, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. So a little bit about you. I just want to kind of share with people that, you've helped me out with merchandising. You've helped out a lot of local ministries here in the Jacksonville area, which has been a absolute blessing to a lot of people. And I'm grateful for you. I'm thankful for you. And part of why you're on this podcast too is, I came to you and I said, look, man, we're starting Infiltrate Records and we have this platform and we can help artists and producers and DJs and all this stuff. And we need merchandise. Merchandise is a huge part of the puzzle and the missing equation for artists. And, you said, well, look, man, I do that. And you do such an excellent job. You've helped me out. You've helped me out with my merchandise for the show coming up on April 13th for my album release party. So I'm actually going to throw that down at the bottom right here. So before we get started, April 13th, I'm blessed and honored. We're going to be having a night of worship. I'll be releasing my third album called Identity. And Chris made my merchandise. So if you come to the show, then you will see the merchandise there and the product and the just excellent quality that Chris and Sir by Design does. And Chris, I'm thankful for you, bro, because you're making my dreams come true and you're helping me to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, man. So thank you.
That's our goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much. So today we're going to be talking about just your testimony, who you are, your story. How did Sir by Design get started? What's the vision? What's the mission? Who are you trying to help? And yeah, what's in works for the future, man, and a little bit about what we're doing. So, brother, I just again, I thank you for your time, man, and I appreciate you. So I'm going to kind of get right into it. How did you come to know God? What is your testimony? What's your story?
Yeah, that's a great question. For anyone who is listening, you do hear an accent. I am from Alabama. So if you need me to slow down or speed up, just let me know. The accent can get kind of thick at times. But that's where my story began. I am native Floridian, but we moved to Alabama when I was very, very young. And in Alabama, there are not a lot of what I would call forward thinking churches, especially 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. And that was my upbringing, were in these small country churches, Southern Baptist, very, very traditional in their thought processes and their teaching and everything. But the one thing that I can say that most churches in the South do right when they're small like that is VBS.
Mhm.
Vacation Bible School was my real introduction to church and to what church can be and what the love of God can look like. It wasn't a stuffy service on a Sunday.
Mhm.
This was the ability to have fun while learning about your creator. And that's where I came into contact with him. I grew up in a very rough childhood, a lot of abuse and drugs and alcohol and homeless numerous times, but the strength that I could always look to and my cornerstone and what I would always turn back to for safety was the church.
Mhm.
And it was VBS that really kicked it all off.
Wow. Yeah, I remember going to VBS as well too, and I remember my friend. I had a rough childhood as well. That grew up in my neighborhood. I love playing basketball, and we played basketball. And he invited me to church to play basketball, and because of that, it opened up the door to me going to church. And then I got to hear about the love of Jesus, and I got to see that in
Yep.
people, and I got to see that in
Yep.
his family. So example is everything if you're out there listening, you know? So that's
Yep.
cool.
And I think we really underestimate how impactful the small things are. Something like basketball or something like just a silly VBS program. The very first year
Mhm,
that I went to VBS, I remember it was a cowboy theme,
mhm.
and it ended up in a horse trailer, and all the kids were in the back sitting on hay bales, and that was just something that drew attention, and it got our attention.
Yeah.
And it's those things that you don't need to underestimate impact people's lives, and it's memorable.
Dude, yeah, I agree with you, man. It's those little things, and those are some of the best moments in my life, and they were very they were very inexpensive and very simplistic, but amazing.
Yeah,
High games like hide and go seek or sleep outs, sleepovers, I guess, church sleepovers at
lock-ins. Yeah. Hmm.
lock-ins. There you go, lock-ins.
Huge. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, yeah, huge, man, and you just get to bond, as I sit here and talk to you right now, I reflect and think about those memories, so that's awesome, brother, that's awesome,
Yeah.
and, really, man, it's just incredible what God's done in your life and just your, when I see you and I talk to you, I always think of humility. I always think of humility. You're very humble. Yeah, yeah, just very quiet. You listen and you're you're humble, man. You're humble and you want to help others. So I appreciate that, man. And it's just amazing to hear about your upbringing and a rough childhood and so forth to what God has done. I both of us sitting right here are miracles, by God, by the grace of God. So
100%.
tell me how you got into, Sir by Design. Like, what started Sir by Design? What is Sir by Design, and how did it come about, brother?
It's such an interesting question because it's like sanctification, right? It's just one of these things that has this progression that no one can explain. No one can really
Mhm,
like pinpoint why did this happen?
mhm,
Why did things fall into place like they did? But I can look back and see so many points in time where I needed served by design. So, my rough childhood and being in youth group led to me becoming a student minister. I was ordained as a pastor and I was a student minister for 15, 20 years.
mhm,
And I was at so many small churches that could not afford merch. We could not have the cool t shirts for our kids. We couldn't do bags when we went to camp, things like that. And so many people can look at that and say, well, that's just silly. Those are just things. It's just petty items that, don't really help in the gospel. But I disagree.
mhm,
When my students were able to have something to carry to school, it
mhm,
would elicit questions. It would really get people talking. And anytime we were able to afford it, I jumped all over it. And
mhm,
so, as kind of my career progressed in student ministry, but also I was in banking and the corporate world for about the same amount of time, about 20 years, I just could not put off this creative desire that I had just to help. And I worked at a few churches, and it was just tough for me because it's hard for me to fit into a system. It's hard for me to fit into a process, and politics are very difficult for me. And
mhm,
I think it's because I want to ask the question, what if? I mean, what if we do try something different? What if we do step outside of this box and say, you know what? It may not work, but we are going to go full force.
mhm,
And so that's what happened with Serve by Design. I started with a little tiny machine about two and a half years ago,
mhm,
and just said, I want to help people achieve their goals. I love equipping people. I love hearing what people's dreams are and saying, okay, how can I help make
mhm,
that a reality? And it started with that small machine, and it's just kind of exploded from there. It's been amazing to watch, like even my introduction to you and so many others.
mhm,
It's just because I feel as though I'm passionate about helping people achieve their dreams. I mean, we want to be a custom experience expert because sometimes you know where you want to be 5 years down the road, but you're not 100% sure how to get there. And so that keeps people stuck in a rut so often. And so I love coming in. I was a project manager in my corporate world and just asking questions. What if? What if we move this direction? What if we move that direction? And that's what Serve by Design does. We come in and we say, tell us what your dream is. Tell us what your biggest goals are, even if you know, we aren't able to achieve them day one. What does that look like if we can achieve it by 6 months from now? And
Oh,
how can we partner with you to do that? So that's kind
that's
of the genesis of Serve by Design.
dude, that's so cool. We can't do things unless we take action. And that's what you did. If you didn't take the proper action that you felt God put in your heart, then right now you wouldn't even be here. And so it really boils down to obedience.
Mhm.
And
It
same
does.
here. I wouldn't be here neither if I'm not obedient. But you can't be scared to take a step. And if you really think about anything in the world, from we'll go with merchandising to where we've come from and evolved throughout the years to where we're now with Shopify and drop shipping and all of this online and AI and everything technology wise. But like, it wouldn't start this wouldn't be happening without somebody saying, okay, we're gonna think, we're gonna do this, we're gonna step forward. It may look a little bit weird, it may look a little bit different, people aren't used to it, but I'm going to step out and do it. I'm going to create the light bulb. I'm going to, whatever it is. So we got to be willing to step out because, I think that would be the biggest loss of our lives sometimes is if we don't step out. I think we'd have a lot of regret. So I'm proud
Yeah.
of you, man, for
Yeah.
stepping out. And I can relate, man, just taking a computer and a website and going for it and saying, all
Just see
right,
what
God,
happens. Yeah.
God, yeah, God, whatever you give me, man, I'm gonna take. I'm trusting in you. I've prayed, I've meditated on this, and I am at complete peace with it. I'm gonna go. I don't know where everybody's gonna come from. Same thing with Infiltrate Records. I don't know where all the artists are coming from, but I know that God does. And I love your heart behind Sir by Design and what you do. Of what you just said, it's serving and it's equipping others so that their ministries can go forth. And I feel like we align so much. That's what Infiltrate Records is as well. Is we have a product, we have a platform, distribution and mastering, and all of these awesome things that we're able to offer Christian and gospel artists. But what we want to do is equip them so that they are setting their ministries off right, or their businesses or their brands off right and in excellency for God, because we should be doing that as believers, and then equipping them to go out and to spread the gospel of Jesus and
Mhm.
fulfill the Great Commission. So I love what you do, bro. It's about serving, loving, and equipping others, and that's what you do.
It is. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I'm glad it's visible. I'm glad people can see the heart behind it, and even the name "Serve by Design." By design, we want to serve, and we want the things that we make to serve a purpose, and everything is intentional. And for anyone listening, and anyone who's ever listened to anything I've ever said, I was certified in the Enneagram a few years ago, and I'm just a big proponent of understanding at the core who God created you to be. And not everyone is the person to push the button and see what happens. And I
Sure.
fully understand that. I think the beauty is you can partner with us and we're willing to push the button and
Mhm.
we're willing just to see what happens and protect you within that. We want to make sure, because just like what you're doing at Infiltrate, there are things that you figured out and there are pitfalls that you know about that new artists may not know about yet. And so it's an opportunity to equip in that way as well and say, look, here are the things that we've done, here are the ways that we've gone wrong, and here are some really great successes that we've had. And that's what we want to do at Serve by Design, is say, listen, we have customers all the time that say, we don't know what kind of shirt to use. Listen, I've got that covered.
Mhm.
Look to me to be the professional that has all these things answered. You just share your dreams and your visions with me. And that's what we need to be doing as the body of Christ. We have the opportunity and the responsibility to
Mhm.
say, and it's discipleship. Hey, I see you. I
Mhm.
see you are new in your faith, or even some people who have been in the faith for a long time. We say, look, there are pitfalls. There are days that you are going to look around and say, this does not look like what I was, given in church. And those days are going to come. But you know what? I've been there. I know the pitfalls. And here's the way God has brought me out of those things. It's
That's
just a beautiful opportunity.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think you've kind of explained the mission and the vision is you want to equip others, you want to serve others. I mean, really in
Yeah,
a nutshell,
it's
that's what your
huge
goal is.
for us. It is. It's huge for us to make
Mhm.
sure that we are making people's dreams come true. We have never wanted to be an organization that just makes a bunch of tchotchkes, a
Mhm.
bunch of, just 1,000 of this one thing just because it sells. Now, don't get me wrong. If we find that item, we're
You'll do it.
definitely we'll pump that thing out.
Now
But
why
we're
would you
not,
not?
yeah, right. I mean, it's money. It's going to help what our heart is. And our heart is helping people find their vision, find their passion,
Yep,
and progress with that. But also, our heart is helping local nonprofits because the nonprofits that I work with, and I work with probably 10 to 12 at this point because it just keeps growing, which I'm
yep,
amazed by. I want to help them raise money. I'm wanting to help them build self sufficiency
yep.
so they can spend less time fundraising and more time ministering because fundraising is a big part of what these ministries have to do and these nonprofits have to do. And it's tough. It's really, really tough.
Mhm.
And so, if Served by Design can have corporate clients that purchase merchandise, give us the ability to then turn around and bless these nonprofits and ministries to say, look, we have extra and we want to be generous with this and we want to equip your ministry so you don't have to spend so much time fundraising. It's a win win for us.
Mm, yep. Yeah, and that's what we wanna create are win-win situations. I wanna talk to you about I came and told you about Infiltrate and brought that idea across the table like you aren't busy enough, but really that's what we wanna do, as I was just saying earlier, we wanna equip artists, we wanna equip worship groups or bands or that single that somebody wants to put out, and a big key to that is merchandise. And we are in an economy right now that is pretty expensive with materials and gas and all that stuff. But one of the great things that I love is that you said, Blake, we can make this happen, brother. We can do this for artists that come on. And we're learning it. But I think as people come on, that you know, it's an awesome thing to be able to have somebody like you who's saying, "Yeah, I'm willing to serve," and we're able to equip artists or groups or you know whoever with their merchandise, because that's a huge part of how artists and um, worship groups and so forth make money, and are able to fund their ministries as well too. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about we were talking about this earlier, but drop shipping a little bit. So um, you know, I think that you have your ways of Shopify and Custom Cat or Printful or Printify and things like that, but I feel like that's pretty high. Their prices are so it's hard to make a profit off those margins of Printful. Am I correct? By the time they do your shipping, I get that you aren't
Mhm.
touching it. By the time you buy the Bella Canvas or the Gildan Soft Style shirt or hat, you got to mark it up to 40, 45 bucks just to barely make anything, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct on that in today's industry with drop shipping?
With a lot of those online platforms, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so are people, like, realistically, you think they're really able to make money off those things? To make
It's
enough
tough.
profit to continue to sustain, it's tough, right?
It's tough, and honestly, when you have not been there and you haven't tested these platforms out and you're offered this and you're like, hey, we'll say, website A says you'll make $4 per shirt. $4 is more than zero, right?
Sure.
And and that can be, really attractive to people to say, man, at least there's a way that I can make $4.
Yeah,
But for me, being local and being a small business, but also being someone who wants to equip, I want people to make as much money as possible
sure. Yeah.
because what that's going to do is then equip them to continue growing in whatever their passion and whatever their career is that they've chosen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that we wanna be able to offer people too, and artists and stuff that come on with Infiltrate is, hey, an opportunity for a small setup fee. Here, you don't have to go and look around or go to Printful, or you can get with people who are loving you and praying and want to equip you in the best way that we can, and also be as fair to you as possible too, you know? But we all, as believers, have to understand that we all do have to stay in business and we have to be able to sustain our ministries and things as well. But that's what I love about that you do. And I thank you for that opportunity. I'm excited about the people that we get to partner with, and the artists that we get to help. I'm excited for my show coming up. It's like, whoa, I've got merchandise. And the other thing is you were very efficient. You're very quick. You're very thorough. I mean, I had it and it came and it was quick. But that's something that I love, and I'm just appreciative that you're saying, you know what, Blake, I'll absolutely help infiltrate with that and the capacity that I can handle and that I can do. We're very appreciative of that. So I want to let artists know, if you're listening to this as well, that this is just another additional thing on the many products and services that Infiltrate offers that we're able to do. Is we are able to have merchandisers and and clothing for you so that you can build out your brand, so that you can have merch for that next show, and that you can have it at a pretty, fair, pretty affordable price as well too, which is the key. I think
Yeah.
that's super super important. So I just, I really thank you for that. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the drop shipping works? So if an artist came on, how would that work? Like, through you, or if somebody wanted that done, how would that work through you? Basically, would you be able to explain that process a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So our goal with the drop shipping or kind of a custom store, there's other platforms where you can go on and you'll need to search for, you know, a certain artist, you know, try to find where their merch is. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a custom page for each artist or nonprofit or individual who just wants to sell, um, whatever merch to progress. I mean, even if somebody just makes t-shirts and they want me to print them, we want to be able to set them up a custom page. And so what that looks like is really and truly, if you have some ideas of what kind of merch that you're looking for, great. Let's talk. If it's going to be hoodies or t-shirts or hats, all those things are super easy. We engrave a lot of items. So that could be, your tumblers, your necklaces. I know we made some dog tags for you and your group one time. So it's kind of it's custom. Custom is we're about custom experiences, and so you're drop shipping. If you want to sell, specific items, we'll talk through that. And I want to make sure we had someone ask the other day about selling bracelets and stickers. As far as economy goes, it just doesn't make much sense to sell those kind of things in a drop shipping platform.
Mhm.
But when we're talking about anything else, if you want to talk to us, we'll send you mock-ups. We'll give you ideas how that happens, and our goal is to have everything turned around within a week. So, for that kind of setup fee, if you want to call it that, we'll build out your page for you. We'll work with you on the mock-ups, and we'll actually keep some of the blanks in stock. So when somebody does order, we're able to get that printed and sent out in a rather quick time.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Now, whenever somebody would do that drop shipping through you, do you ship that out? You ship that out yourself?
I do. So we have partnered with a shipping platform to try to find the best rates possible,
Yeah.
and that obviously impacts the rates of how much things are sold for. But the beauty of creating your custom page is you set up what you want the prices to be. We'll go over profit margins and we'll talk about, hey, if you set your t-shirts at this price. You can expect to kind of make this much at the end. And some people do want to offer free shipping, some people don't. There's so many options in kind of how you can set up your own drop shipping. And you can even tell us, hey, we want to make $10 per item, price it however it needs to be priced for us to make that. And that's kind of part of the custom experience. Just let us know what you're looking for and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so awesome, and I'm just so appreciative of you. I'm going to share a little bit here too. I was looking for our flyer that you made, and so artists can kind of get an idea with what Chris came up with. Thank you for this. Here's some ideas I'm going to kind of present on the screen here, but that we can do for you, and that Sir by Design can do for you as you come on within as an artist with Infiltrate Records. We can help you, and we want to make sure that we're fair to you. Chris wants to make sure that he's fair to you guys, and we can offer starter kits, starter packages, and all that stuff, which I think is awesome. So if you'll see here, Sir by Design offers tees, hoodies, beanies, stickers, hats, patches, pins, koozies, posters, tumblers, sunglasses, bracelets, and then again, merch packages will be available for you as well. So you see a starter kit here for $250. You're getting 12 t-shirts and 6 hats. For $750, 24 t-shirts, 12 hats, 100 stickers, 6 hoodies, 6 posters. And then a pro package would be 50 t-shirts, 24 hats, 200 stickers, 12 hoodies, and 25 posters. And I love and I appreciate you, Chris, for putting the estimated profit on here. So you spend $250, you're looking at getting back $230. You're making that investment, but you're getting your ROI is pretty good on that. Same thing with the 750 spent, your estimated profit on that. If you sell it according to the prices that Chris is going off of, then you could make $620. And then on the pro package, obviously a little bit more, $1,290. Also, if you're a business that's listening to this too, again, you can reach out to Chris. But Chris, I think this is awesome. And artists, we can help you with this starter, this traction pack, and pro merchandise packet, which I think is absolutely incredible and is super, just trying to be fair to you and your artistry and your brand and trying to help you get going. But look, if you have, you know, 12 shirts and 6 hats at your table, and then you've got a landing page that we can do, or that Chris can do the drop shipping to, then that's going to help you, and then, get your merchandise out there, or you can create a QR code with that landing page with that URL, and then somebody can click on it at your show, and then boom, look, you got merchandise, and you got it going on, So I love it, brother. It's been a blessing to me, man. And again, the merchandise that you do and stuff is awesome. And Chris is able to give you different options. So I loved it. He gave me a catalog. He said, Blake, pick what's good for you. And I said, look, I don't want any cheap hats. So the quality is there as well. The quality in the shirts, I know we use a Gildan soft style shirt. For our cutoffs and for our shirts, and they're really good. They're really good. You ain't gonna wash them 2 times and never see it again. It's good quality stuff. Same thing with the hats. I was able to get Carhartt hats. We decided to say, hey, we're gonna invest a little bit. We want quality hats. We don't want hats that are gonna be worn once, get sweaty, and be done. So I love it. So not only is the pricing there, not only is the heart there by you, but ministries in Jacksonville, artists coming on to Infiltrate, anybody listening to this, Sir by Design can absolutely help you. They can absolutely uh, help you bring your design to life. You, Brandon, myself, we sat down and you guys utilized and helped me to be able to come up with a direction and some vision. And not only that, I want to commend you. You came and went, I think, over and beyond the call of duty, and you helped to write down my profit. profit estimates, and you didn't have to do that, but you did that. And I just want to say I appreciate that, man. And that's been helpful to me. So I'm able to look at it visually because people want to see things visually. I'm a
Yeah.
visual person. I want to see, okay, if I'm spending out this money, what is the potential that I can bring back? Because we want to be good stewards of our finances that God gives us. We want to be able
Yeah.
to, the more that we have, the more that we can give back to the kingdom, you know. So
hmm And, that's another one of those places where the reason I do the potential profit is because I want you to rely on me as a subject matter expert and, just kind of say, I don't want you to have to think to yourself, oh, how am I going to price these things? How much? I want you to rely on me and you don't have to go with what I recommend. That's totally okay. But don't be so stressed about, what if or how much, things like that. I have experience in this, of course. And the beauty of something like that $250 package, the reason I call it a starter package is because when you're looking at 12 shirts, small, medium, large, extra large, we'll say those four sizes, it's kind of three of each of those. And you can try a design. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Pivot
mhm,
and then try a different design. Right.
sure.
And I had someone ask me, they said, well, I don't fit in the 250 and I don't have 750, but I have 500. What can we do? And that's, well, that's fine. It's what we do. We are custom. So
Yeah.
whatever your needs are, if you don't need six hats because your kind of following doesn't really wear hats, no problem. We'll switch that out for something else. We'll do some hoodies or whatever you believe is going to best impact
Mhm.
your fans, your followers, the people who are going to be buying your merch because they want it. People love wearing merch of people and bands and different things that they love and brands. And so they're going to purchase it from someone. So why not you? And why not make sure that you can test things and see how they're going to go over? And then once you find your kind of silver bullet, your big popular item, invest heavy in it. Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely. Cause you know that it works and you're able to, do different strategies. I mean, that's part of your marketing efforts. That's part of seeing what sticks and does not. You won't know unless you try. So I like that you're custom like that. And same here, again, the show is coming up on April 13th, but April 13th in Florida, not a lot of people are rocking hoodies. We're getting ready to embrace the heat and understand why we don't want to go to hell, because it's so hot here in Florida and so stinking humid, and you walk out in your sweat box. So,
It's
but
rough. Yeah.
for the April 13th show, you and Brandon sat down and as a team, and we're like, nah, hoodies ain't it. If you want to have it on your website, we can do that. But let's kind of customize to your needs and to what we feel like the client's needs will be, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think will be awesome. And again, the quality came out good. So being able to pivot like that, being able to give people options, and actually being able to talk to somebody is awesome too.
Mhm.
So something
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
than just going out there. You don't really get to talk to these automated systems. And that's how a lot of the bigger companies are geared towards is the automation, and you ain't talking to any customer service line. They are trying to get you to press button 1, 2, and 3 and try to answer your questions or answers without getting you on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a live
And
representative picking up. And that's
right.
tough.
A lot of times I've had the experience prior to starting Serve by Design when I would call them, I would ask about quality or I would ask about kind of longevity of the items if I were to order them, et cetera. And they don't know. It's not their fault, but they're just a customer service representative. At
Yeah.
Serve by Design, everything that we offer, we've tested and we know it's going to be quality because if it's not, I don't want my name tied to it. I don't
Mhm.
want people to know that it came from Serve by Design because that's going to reflect on someone's opinion of potentially coming to us later down the road. And
Yeah.
so, when we were looking at the Carhartt hats, or of course the Richardsons are such a popular hat, the Gildan soft style shirts, this is my design. This is my logo on a Gildan soft style shirt
Yeah.
because I believe in it. I believe in the quality and the feel and
Yeah.
the longevity. And so
Yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of these other organizations, they don't really know what the quality is going to be. It's they make it in such mass that they're just trying to find the cheapest prices. But
Mm.
here, I want you to have a really high quality product to offer your customers, and that's another reason we don't do really strict minimums. Is because if you go on to kind of in that booklet that you were talking about, and there's a knife that you like, that you're like, oh yeah, I'm playing a country show
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
like a fish fry or something, and man, those guys would love
Hmm.
engraved pocket knives. I want to be able to go and grab one of those knives before I tell you anything about it and say, yeah, I've tested it
Hmm.
and it engraves well, or, lots of information about it.
Hmm.
So neither one of us are in the dark about it. I want you to have good quality products to offer to your customers.
Yeah. I love it. And that brings me to this point. I am always huge on supporting local and small business. So if you're in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
support each other, support local,
Yeah.
support your communities, support one another. And that is just something that I miss. I know I'm not that old, but I miss that. All this, I appreciate automation, and I use automation in a lot of my workflows
Mhm.
today, and it's helpful. But people also just want to talk to people too. There is the human element, and there is the that a robot cannot do for you, or that automation cannot do. That you can never take away the relational experience that people want to feel. Even now, I can go through the prompts when I call Geico, and I can just dial and just press 1 and 2 and hear an automated script. But doggone it, when there's a problem, I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what you're able to offer locally too, and stuff.
Yeah.
So local
Or we
business.
have an idea. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the beauty of it is, what you just showed, the koozies and the hats and everything. Yeah, all those are things that we've made, but you know what? We love someone coming to us and saying, "Hey, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I kind of saw it somewhere. What do you think?" I
Mhm.
love trying new stuff. I love getting out there and cranking up my laser or cranking up, one of my other machines and saying, well, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can, make this, a possibility. I borrowed a 3D printer the other day to
Yeah.
just try some stuff out for another customer of mine. So I don't ever want someone feeling uh, put into a box or put into, some kind of confine because we're a small business. I'll try. And yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at my Instagram, there are so many things on here that, a year ago I would have been like, no, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah.
But that mirror right there, we wanted people to know that they were loved at an event where they came to pick up kind of a food donations, things like that. We wanted to try that. We wanted to try so many of these things and just said, well,
Yeah.
why not? Why not
You
try it?
even do woodworking as well too, right?
I do. Yep. So that sign right there that's kind of in the middle that says "Served by Design." We were at a festival, and I just wanted kind of a creative sign that was Christmas themed. And so I said, "Well, I'm going to try it and see what happens."
That's
It's,
amazing.
it's it's kind of one of
It
the
looks really
some,
good. It looks great.
thank you. Some people may view that as volatile personality, and sometimes it may feel like it. But if I see something and I want to try it, I don't want to be limited by anything, and I don't want my customers to be limited by anything.
Mhm. Yeah, I
That
love
wouldn't
the
be a
shirts.
problem.
I love
Yeah,
these hoodies right here, one part mini
yeah.
bodies,
Mhm.
or one body mini parts rather,
Yep.
excuse me.
Yeah. So that's actually, kind of a group of nonprofits here in Clay County, Florida.
Mhm.
They belong to that, and they do such amazing work. Seeds of Love and Save to Serve and CCRM. It's so many amazing ministries, that just really are changing lives here in, Clay County. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I love it. Those 3 ministries, shout out to Say by yeah, Save to Serve, Serve by Design, Seeds of Love, CCRM, Amy Houston.
Mhm.
They've
Yeah.
always had a heart in I mean, ever since I've known them for a few years now, is like, how do we come together? How do we
Yeah.
work together? And it's just funny. I remember when William Darnell, told me about you, and I was like, "Where'd you get this hat from?" And he said, "Serve by Design." I was like, "Well, that name right there is why I got to go to you. If somebody is serving, That's what the Bible calls us to do, is to love God and love your neighbor. That means serve one another. Then I'm going to them. I mean, they're going to get my support. So as long as the stuff is good, let's go. And it's awesome, brother. I absolutely love what you're doing. I just appreciate your time. So what is in works for the future, man? Like, I want to, before we hop off of here, what do you have in the future coming up? Is there anything new? Any what do you got?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, my goal has always been to obviously help people with custom experiences, but also help nonprofits. So one of
Yeah.
the things that we have coming up in August actually is I'm going to be, well, Served Up by Design is actually going to sponsor, but I'm also going to lead kind of an opportunity. It's going to be a conference for nonprofit leaders just to come in and
Oh,
rest and learn and network with other nonprofits. Teaching is something that I love. I love speaking. I love just that whole opportunity of just sharing what God's put on my heart with people around me. And so that's one of the big things we have coming up. And for Serve by Design, we want to be the one stop shop. We want to be the place that immediately when someone says, man, we need something custom, regardless of what it is, let's call Serve by Design and see if they can handle that for us. And so that could be signage, embroidery, or screen printing, laser, any of those things.
mhm.
We are really trying to take every penny that we make that we're not putting back into nonprofits and putting it back into the company and just buying more machines and just being the one stop shop. We want people to know that they have someone on their side and that
Mhm.
we have the capability to bring their dreams to life.
That's awesome. So when is this nonprofit conference? Is it going to be here in Jacksonville?
It is. It's going to be in Jacksonville. It's going to be in August. We still have a lot of different things to work out. We're going to have some panel discussions
Cool.
just around resting well and of course branding and marketing and merchandising. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about so much stuff, but the overall idea of this entire conference is I want you to come, I want you to rest, I want you
Mm.
to have an opportunity to take your mind away from all the things that you have going on, the fundraising and the stress, and we need more space, all these things that these nonprofits are thinking about and saying, okay, let us take an opportunity to, yes, rest, but also just plan well
Mhm.
and network well and see, okay, if we're doing this over here, how can I help this ministry and how can they help me? And then at the end of the day, I just want to speak into them, pour into them as they're pouring into, the people around them.
Yeah, I love that too. That's a great mentality to have, is how can we create win-win, unified mentalities and situations rather than, I think some people unintentionally ask for things and don't realize that it's like all the time they're asking. And
Mm,
it's like, then we forget about the other person or the other ministry. We have to
yeah,
remember that, like the hoodie just said, it's one body and there's many parts. But God's given each of us a vision and He's given us a calling in our life. And if that's that nonprofit sector or pastoral leadership or ministry or whatever that is, that God's called you to, that's got to be able to sustain itself. So, and if it
right.
does, then I believe we as companies, businesses, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, we need to figure out as believers how we can be unified, how we can come together, how we can really and truly not just say it, but have that belief in action about the unification and come together to help one another. How,
Yeah,
how can we come together to create win-win situations, and be able to create
and move
a
as the body. Yeah,
yeah, and move as a
yeah,
body too. And that's the
mhm,
same vision with Infiltrate Records as well too. Is like, you have an amazing service that people need, and we want to bless you. We want to bless Sir by Design and what God's equipped you to do, and vice versa. You're able to take what you have in the gifting and the ministry and equip artists and worshipers and so forth. You're able to equip the body with things that they need, so with merchandise, so that their ministries can sustain and businesses and nonprofits can be equipped, because branding and merchandise is huge. It's just
it
huge in
is.
2024, and
Mhm.
you've got to be doing it. You
Yeah,
really
and
do. So,
I was talking to somebody the other day. They said,
mhm,
"But why? Why merch?" And I said, "Honestly, there are lots of platforms that you can pay lots of money for marketing. There are
mhm.
lots of platforms that you can go and spend a bunch of time trying to create content. And I'm not saying that's not valuable, but there's an opportunity with merch where someone is paying you to market for you, and it's a great opportunity. One of the guys that I'm working with, he and I created a really cool design T-shirt. He said it's just different, but it's going to get people talking, and that's what you want. They're paying to market for you, and I think that's just a great opportunity
It
all
all the
around.
time now on Instagram, brand ambassadors wanted.
Mhm.
So you come up with something and you got people
Yep.
rocking that merch, then, you never know. And you never know
Mhm.
the doors that God can open up through that, for, if you're listening, your artistry, your group, your ministry, your nonprofit, whatever's going on. So, brother, I thank you, man. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about what all I appreciate your help with us. I'm excited about the artists that come on and who we're able to help and equip and be able to sit back a year from now and say, dang, we were able to help out 30 or 40 different artists and look at what
Yep.
they've done and watch their growth on some of their platforms and throughout the city, locally, and the nation. So again, and another thing too, you're not just here in Jacksonville, neither, right? You're
Mhm.
able to help out nationwide.
Mhm. Correct. We'll ship, anything, anywhere, and whatever you need, we've got you.
Yeah, again, people listening, if that's happening, remember that money has to be made on so shipping and those things, depending on where you're at, have to be factored into the total equation. But that's awesome. And so artists listening as well too, if you're in a different state or whatever, we can work things out and figure out what's best for you. So brother, I just appreciate you. I thank you for your ministry and serving. I thank you for jumping on here, taking the time. I'm excited, just to be able to have to be in ministry together with you, to know you, to grow in relationship, and I'm excited about the people that together we can help to advance the kingdom of God. So thank you. We are praying for Sir by Design, brother, and we're praying for God's blessing and grace and mercy and favor over it in 2024. And we're here to help that grow as well too. We're glad to be a bridge or a connector and a willing vessel to help you in what God's called you to do, brother. So I just thank you for your time. Again, Serve by Design. You can hit him up on IG. It's serve_by_design. It's scrolling across the bottom right now. And you can go to his website, which is www.servecustom.com, or you can email him at info@servecustom.com. Again, Serve by Design is on Instagram, IG, serve_by_design, website, servecustom.com, email Chris at info@servecustom.com. He is more than fair. He does an excellent job. And Chris, I appreciate you, brother. I'm sure that we'll have some more times on this podcast, but thank you for joining the Infiltrate Records podcast today, brother. I appreciate you and excited for what the future holds, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We appreciate you. We want you to know that you are loved by a God and creator that loves you so much and you're precious in his eyes. And if you don't believe in your gifts or your calling, he created you with a purpose. No matter what that is, he created you with a purpose when you're knitted in your mother's womb and a calling. And don't miss that calling in your life. Don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to be obedient. Make sure you're spending time with the Lord. Make sure that you're in that intimate place with him and just continue to trust in him. I pray for anyone listening here. And if you don't know the Lord, I always tell people you can reach out to me at info@infiltraterecords.com. I will pray for you and explain the gospel of Jesus Christ because it saved Chris's life and my life. So we love you. And until next time, peace.